All right, well, it's a new day, and I got some new parts. Finally got a steering gear, and I got a custom drive shaft from Tom Woods, and that's working out. And I gotta tell you, I bought this new steering gear, and that thing is a monster. I've never seen one. It was so heavy. It was actually difficult to carry in. Now, I was moving furniture all day yesterday, but let me show you this. Then I just got this. It's front drive shaft. It's a Tom Woods custom right there. 1310 double cardian right here. And then 1330 on the slip yoke. So I actually had to call them and talk to them, and they're really knowledgeable. This is not my first drive shaft I've ordered from Tom Woods. They're out of Ogden, Utah. And if you call in the afternoon, I'll probably have it built by the end of the day, depending on how late you call, and shipped it out in the morning, or he'll get it done morning, have it shipped out that same day. And that's just, I've ordered these through the years. That's the way they've always been. The service is just great. They know if you need a drive shaft, your car's not running, so they want to get that to you. So anyways, let me get it all set up here. Trying to get that exhaust pipe crossover out of the way. And the decision was to try to bend it out of the way. No cutting, just bend it. And to do that, let me show you what I first started with. And it was effective, but didn't get it all the way. Let me show you. So what I did, you see that chain right there? I took that chain and wrapped it around the pipe right here. Just wrapped it around the pipe. Then I ran it down and hooked it to the bottom of the lift. And then I got two ginormous hydraulic rams here. And I just put the lift, told it to come up, and it pulled it down. And this drive shaft here, let me tell you, it was wasn't even close. With the pipe there, the drive shaft was about 2 inches. Here's where it was coming in at when it hit the thing. So it dropped it quite a bit. In fact, I got it to where maybe this cap right here was sticking up maybe 3/4 of an inch. I'm like, gosh, I'm so close. So I got a little over zealous, pulled real hard, heard a snap. And that snap was my exhaust. Let me move, it's really tight under here. Where my cat converter attaches to the manifold. Yeah, that thing was clean snapped off. So once I got done crying and having a tantrum, wiped off my tears, got a drink and a refreshment and calmed down, I was able to get that pushed back up there. I used a floor jack and a piece of wood and some brute force. With a little bit of luck, I got up there, and then as you can see, I booger welded that sucker on there. And it turns out, if you have the settings right on your MIG welder, it actually welds quite cleanly. I didn't have that at first. And that's what happens when you get frustrated and you're tired. You start making even more mistakes on top of more mistakes. But it's booger welded on there. And it doesn't look like it's going to leak. I got it all the way around. I had to take the inner fender well on the driver's side out in order to weld on the other side. But I did get that done. And as you can see, this drive shaft is now in here. But how did I do that? Well, first of all, you can see I got, I get some light in here. Good solid 1/4 inch clearance there. Shaft doesn't hit at all. And you gotta remember, this has limiting straps on it, so it's not gonna go anymore. And I tried my propane torch to try and squish it down. That didn't work. What I used was actually the ball joint tool, you know, for those big old heavy ball joints. And that actually just put a clamp on it, just squished that sucker down, flattened it out. And that's what got me down, you know, close. But it still wasn't close enough. And of course, after my fatal break of that exhaust manifold right there, I took a break yesterday. I got a haircut, you know, that stuff. And I went and I spent a boatload of money on that. Yeah. Oxy acetylene. This tank is the acetylene. This is oxygen. You tend to use about twice as much oxygen as you do on the acetylene if you're cutting, because the acetylene's only about 4 or 5 psi when you're running the torch at all times, never gets higher than that, at least for this rig. But your oxygen goes up to 25 psi, so it just clears it out a lot faster. I've always wanted one of these, but they're pricey. Just the torch itself is pricey. But then you got to buy not one of it, but 2 tanks. But once you get past that, I think it's only like 25 bucks to fill this one. I think it's 60 for the acetylene. You know, and this thing's gonna last me for the rest of my life. Now I'm thinking I might even use it for cutting metal. I used one 30 years ago. Actually, I was taking a welding class, and part of the welding class was oxyacetylene, and that sucker buzzed through a piece of 1/2 inch thick steel plate like butter, hot knife through butter, and I was like, "This is awesome." But it's expensive, and it's you get way more BTUs or heat out of these gases when you set the torch up. And all I use, there's a little handle on here, and this handle right here, when you press that, that's when you get the rush of 25 psi oxygen, and it cuts. But if you don't use that, it's got the acetylene with a little bit of oxygen to get the neutral flame, and then you just sit there and you just heat up that section, and that 1/8 inch thick pipe, it heated it up just really quick. So I was really happy with it. I could use a hammer. I actually set the drive shaft and just tap with the drive shaft, because you know it's cold, 1/8 inch wall, and it actually set that nice steady gap there all the way across there. If it rubs at all, it'll be barely. And nice thing is you'll just see a stripe on the drive shaft, and then I can go in there and just do a little more massaging and get that done. But unfortunately, yeah, I had to spend some cash, and you look these up and you'll get sticker shock. And I knew that going in, but I went into a welding supply place, and I asked the lady up front. She was also the owner, her and her husband. And I said, "You guys set me up. I have no idea what I'm doing." And this was the setup she sold me. Medium. Call it medium duty. The difference between medium duty and heavy is that the heavy can consume a boatload of acetylene. I mean, fast. That's, you know, if you really got to do a lot of cutting on heavy, thick metal and stuff, it'll cruise through bottles. I said, well, that's not me. So anyways, came with the instructions. You got to read through. I'm highlighting stuff. It's not difficult, but there are a lot of little steps to the process. Because this is for, you know, all gases, by the way. But I didn't realize with the settling, you only crack the bottle, it says, 3/4 of the way, and tells you don't get over 15 psi on the flow to the torch. Apparently settling has a lot of issues, and so there's some safety issues. Oxygen, just crack that thing all the way over. Then you look, there's a chart in the book. You look up whatever your tip size is, and then it tells you what to set it to. I mean, that's pretty easy. But there's a lot of little pieces to the puzzle. So if you ever decide to buy one of these, sit down, read, highlight, and I'm actually labeling my bottles over here because I'm going to come back later. I want to use this. You see that right there. It says 3/4 turn bottle valve. It says open completely. And then I'm going to do another note on these guys for the oxygen and also for this the acetylene. What to set it for my torch tip size, which is tip size 0, which can cut up to 1/2 inch. Which I'll never go that far. If I do, well, great. Maybe like U-bolt plate, something like that. But now that I got it, it came with goggles. They're very uncomfortable, but they got the job done. So I got to finish setting this up. This is just a heavy-duty dolly I got from Harbor Freight. That's what I'm using for the tanks right now. That and just a ratchet strap. But I worked all day before I had this, all day, and didn't get it done. I was tired, beat. I came in here and with about 30 minutes of just reading, and then I did a little test on a test piece to see how quick, and it heats it up just like that. Yep. So I was actually able to get it, the piece adjusted in probably about less than 10 minutes. Like less than 10 minutes. So when you got the right tool, man, things just get super easy. And then, you know, the rest of the time was just putting the drive shaft on and finding the straps for it. So anyways, that's it for today.